Hey, it's Mark Slater here with Prime Spine Consulting, and I'm honored to be doing this interview with one of the top liaisons in the Personal Injury Accelerator program. Her name is Reagan. She's out of Lafayette, Louisiana. She works for Dr. Scott Clark of Clark Integrated Medical. And Dr. Clark has been in this program for many, many years. He started off with 9 personal injury patients when he contacted me. And things have changed significantly since he was only getting 9 PI patients a month. So I'd like to introduce Reagan Booty. Reagan, welcome to this interview.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Mark.
Of course. Scott was telling me at our mastermind, he's like, man, you got to interview Reagan. You got to interview her. I mean, Reagan's got it going on. So here we are. I'm so thankful and grateful that you're doing this interview. So Reagan, tell me a little bit about your background. What were you doing before you got approached by Scott or saw his ad and started and became his marketing liaison?
Sure. So originally when I started, I was just a chiropractic assistant. I started with Dr. Scott when he was just originally Clark Chiropractic. So we weren't even an integrated office yet. And I started in our very, very first office, which was super small. We didn't have much room. And again, we were just seeing chiropractic patients. And then one day he's like, I want to become an integrated practice. And we moved up to medical, chiropractic, and rehab. And I kind of moved around the office a lot. I was front desk, I was a rehab technician. And then about a year ago, we had a marketing liaison hired already. And she had some stuff going on in life. And, so she ended up leaving the clinic. And Dr. Scott was like, you are the only person that I know that can really fill this spot. So I'd really like to offer you the marketing position. And instantly I was nervous because I had never done anything in marketing. I didn't go to school for marketing. But I know how to talk to people. So I was like, you know what, it can't be that hard. I know how to start conversation. I know how to get people to like me. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So we went full throttle with it. So I've been with the clinic for 6 years now.
6 years. Okay. And you took over about 2 years ago. Is that correct? Give or take, maybe a year?
So about like a year and a half. It hasn't been 2 years just yet.
Okay. And a year and a half ago when you took over, what were the numbers like in terms of new PI patients?
So with the old marketing liaison, we had got the numbers up a good bit. So we had, got our foot in the door with a lot of new personal injury attorneys, and we were seeing probably 40 to 60 a month referrals coming in.
And by the way, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Reagan.
Yeah.
Scott Clark, Dr. Clark started with 9 when he got into this program. So I just wanted to show you the value of the marketing liaison, but not just any marketing liaison, a really good marketing liaison. So Reagan, didn't mean to interrupt you. Just go ahead and continue. I just wanted to give some context of what 40 to 60 means when Dr. Clark.
Yeah. So we saw a significant jump in numbers whenever we had someone specifically for marketing. And we've been seeing that ever since. It's been nothing but, the sky is the limit now, so since we moved into our new location a year ago, we've still been seeing close to 50 to 70 a month. And we've bonded so many relationships, and we've just had so many new ones come in as well, that we have so many connections now that it's getting around town. It's, definitely word of mouth, and it's a lot of, hey, I know this clinic that also does medical, chiropractic, and rehab. Let's send them there and see how they do. And we've just done phenomenal with it. So referrals are definitely there.
Yeah, and you're still going out and farming and meeting new law firms. You're still doing that, even though you're getting 50 to 70 a month. You're still meeting new people, yes?
Correct. So I always, about every month or 2 months, I always make a list because it is such a flooded area here with personal injury attorneys. There's always new ones popping up here and there. So I try to retrack, and of course I get the ones that we already have relationships with, but I also make sure that I'm hitting the new ones too, because if they're new to town, they also need providers to send to. So I'm always making sure I stay up to date on that list.
And that's great awareness, because these attorneys, they don't have a case unless they have medical notes documentation. So they have to send the client somewhere. And the
do is I greet the front desk. I make sure to compliment them, whether it's earrings or shirt, whether it's their watch. Sometimes I'll even say like, it's so funny, but the littlest things matter. Because if I walk in an office and that girl smells good, I'm going to tell you, you smell nice, you know, and it's going to get us talking and it's going to start a conversation. So that's what you want to do is you want to walk in, you want to be the loudest person in there too. Because I've noticed when you vocalize it, there's going to be people coming out like, who's this loud girl in my office trying to sell me something? So that's just a couple things, you know, you just want to be the loudest person and you want to make sure that you are making a relationship with that gatekeeper.
Right, because these gatekeepers or administrative staff, front desk people, most of the time they're female. Is that what you encounter? Yes?
Yes, most of the time, yeah.
And they'll gossip.
Right.
It's the staff. So if you don't acknowledge them or compliment them, which will totally undercut their ability to gossip about you if you do that. So that's good. So you mentioned that you have a concussion protocol now at Clark Integrated Medical, correct?
Right. Yes, we do.
Since Dr. Clark integrated that into the practice, Clark Integrated, tell me a little bit about your conversations, how the conversations go with attorneys when you mention that you have a concussion or TBI protocol. Do you get into that at all? Do they ask you?
Yes. So that's actually my goal right now, is to go to all of our existing attorneys that we already have relationships with and to introduce that to them. So usually when I walk in, I'm asking to speak to an attorney, but if I can still talk to the front desk girl, that's fine too, because I let them know, hey, this is a pamphlet on our concussion testing. We also do impact testing, which all of our providers are impact certified. And we do what we call a BEST test, and it's a balance testing. So we do all that in our office. And whenever I'm speaking to them about it, I let them know how much value it adds to their case. And I let them know that it's never been challenged in court, and that we want to make sure when there's a positive concussion that we're getting it right on the spot. And people, I mean, the attorneys are absolutely so interested. We actually have 2 coming in at 11 today that are going to come and talk to us about it. So it's going really well. I didn't know that it was so important for attorneys to have this in their cases, but it definitely is.
It does, because concussions are it's like a health event. A concussion can give people problems for 20 years.
Right,
It's not like a headache or a neck sprain, which can go away in 90 days. This is going to have long-term impacts on health. So that's why it's so valuable to have this in personal injury. So how, I know you're going to these, your existing relationship attorney firms and now you actually have a reason to go in there and talk to them about your concussion protocol.
Right.
My question is, how often would you say on average you go and follow up with your existing relationships?
So usually I make a list and I go monthly. I try to go every month to all my attorneys. Even if it's just a check-in, whether it's I bring boudin or I bring a lot of people like Caroline's cookies. I've been getting so much feedback on that. So I'll bring Caroline's cookies, I'll bring nothing but cakes, and I'll make sure like, hey, I'm putting my sticker and our logo on this, so don't forget about us. We're still here. And usually we get great feedback. And what's crazy is when I do that, we get referrals in that from those people if we haven't got referrals in from them in a while. So that's how you know it works. Just you showing your face, hey, we're still in the business. Don't forget to refer to us, or vice versa. So it definitely, it makes a difference.
It's the original definition of FaceTime.
Right. Exactly.
So FaceTime with them, let them see your name tag, your logo, URL, phone number, get them used to seeing you. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Reagan, is there anything you want to bring up, like a story you want to tell? Maybe you walked into a law firm and they were standoffish, or you thought, oh my God, these people hate me, they're never going to send. Is there a situation where you kind of felt like that and then were pleasantly surprised when, oh my God, they sent business? Has that ever happened?
Yeah. So there's always going to be people that when you walk into an office and you're trying to sell something, they're going to be like, oh, here's a girl trying to sell me something again. They're not always super inviting, and that's going to happen. You're going to get walls in marketing and in sales. But I always make sure to still smile. I always make sure, hey, you're going to remember me. Whether you want to or not, you will. to us once a long time ago, and I need to follow up with those people. So I'm working on my C list and my B list, and we're trying to get those moved up.
Right. You try to bump the C's to the B's and the B's to the A's.
Yes.
And bring some more Caroline's cookies to the A's.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And I just wanted to clarify something. When you said cold calls, you don't mean this kind of cold call. You mean walking in there unannounced, just walking right in.
Right.
Yeah. And what happens if you see a no soliciting sign by the front door, Reagan? What do you do then?
I still go in. I still talk to people. And
I may not approach it a certain way. I may change my wording and be like, hey, like,
not necessarily, can I try to sell you something? I just wanted to come bring by a pamphlet, introduce myself, that's it, and then just walk away, because sometimes, again, if they have that kind of sign, they're more open to, I don't want what you're selling, but I'm okay meeting you. Like they're not going to be ugly to you, but they still don't want what you're selling at that moment. But if you leave what you have and you like, hey, I'm going to leave the pamphlet with you, you figure it out from there, and I'll be back in a couple weeks, or I'll be back in about a month or so,
Yeah. People have walls. You got to break down those walls. Like,
absolutely.
I'm sure 9 out of 10 people that walk in there are offering a bunch of nonsense. You're walking in there with, hey, we're an integrated medical practice. We offer chiropractic, rehab, medical. I mean, you have value for these attorneys.
Absolutely. And that's our biggest thing is, we can have the best patient care in the world, but to these attorneys, they want to know what's going to benefit them. So we have to start naming the stuff of, hey, we have transportation, we have translators for bilingual patients, we have concussion testing, like there's so many things that we have to offer to them, because if not, then they're like, well, what do I get out of it? So that's when we come in and we try to alleviate all those obstacles in their cases.
Right. You mentioned it earlier. You're talking to them about how's it going to benefit them? Well, you can talk about your services, but after you talk about the service, what's the benefit of that service? So in other words, you mentioned you have a concussion protocol, and the benefit for you, Mr. Attorney, is this can get you 10x, 20x, 30x settlement offers because brain injuries get past policy limits.
Right. Absolutely. And they don't realize how much value it's going to add until they actually do it. And then they go to court with it. And then they're like, oh gosh, like this really helped. Thank God I went with Clark Integrated. And then the word's going to get out. And then if they're going to tell their friends, and all the attorneys are going to all come together and figure out, okay, they have something that these other clinics are not offering. And that's what we want. We want to stand out.
Yeah, we call that a point of differentiation.
Exactly.
That's how you stand out. Love it. Reagan, a few more questions here. So do you have like a standard go-to script when you cold call or walk into a new law firm and walk up to that receptionist desk? Do you kind of have a go-to script that 80% of the time is going to work?
Yes and no. Most of the time when I go in, I do introduce myself the same way, but I don't necessarily say the whole script. I need to feel the vibe first. So whenever I go in, say what I need to say, introduce myself. Hey, I work for Clark Integrated Medical Clinics. We're a full-blown integrated clinic. We offer this, and this, and we'd love to work with y'all. If y'all just, like what can we do to get y'all to basically put us in the rotation of referrals? That's my go-to question. And instantly it sparks a light bulb, and the front desk girls are like, oh wait, we're always looking for providers, and there's your way in right there. But it doesn't always go like that. Sometimes you walk in and they're like, okay, I'll give it to the attorney. Have a good day. And that's it. And it's like, okay, I made my mark. That's fine. I'll be back in a couple months, But you also don't want to bug them. Like you don't want to go in there so much to where they're like, oh my gosh, this girl again. You want it to be, yes, you're gonna remember me, but I don't want to be too much on you, because then I'm gonna burn you out, and then you're not gonna want to work with this,
Right. It's a delicate dance. I hear what you're saying.
It is.
But at least once a month you're showing up.
Right.
These firms you have relationships with. Okay. They can tell me in your own words, like, what's the best part of
this? I guess it would have to be.
You can say the money.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, like, yes, the pay is great. My boss takes care of me. I will say that. He does take care of me. But I whenever you push yourself for something that you just didn't think you could do.
Yeah, it helps to have a process and a plan. And yeah, that's awesome. So the next question for you, Reagan, is what's the worst part of the job?
Man.
I always want to start positive and then
and then go to the negative, right?
Yeah.
It has its challenging times. I guess, like I talked about cold calls, it's tough. The first few times getting rejected, it hurts. Like, it's like, ouch, like, like they don't even want to talk to me, I'm so fun to talk to if they just give me like 5 minutes, but I have to just keep encouraging myself and know that it's not necessarily me. It could be them. They could be having a hard day. They could be it just could be the wrong day for them. So I have to just remember that, through the downs, there's going to be ups too. And all of those rejections came to a lot of acceptance as well, because a lot of those same attorneys are now referring to us. So, hard work pays off.
Yeah, it's not a one-shot deal. You followed up. You didn't let your emotions dictate your actions. You just took action in spite of your emotions of fear, anxiety, just whatever those emotions are, you just plowed forward anyway.
Right, exactly.
And that's what it takes. And at the beginning, I bet it was hard walking into a new law firm. You don't know anybody, but when you start anything new, it's hard.
It's hard. And Dr. Scott's big on, he does not like us to be comfortable. So when he sees you getting comfortable, he's going to move you and you're going to be like, oh gosh, like, no, I can't do it. And he's like, yes, you can. Don't say that, So, it's definitely good to have a boss like that too, that pushes you and knows you're capable of something. And Dr. Scott has been phenomenal. He's the best teacher I've ever had. So. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Clark, he's a college athlete, and some of that can rub off on you because what his mindset is, hey, listen, you might strike out 70% of the time.
Right.
Or you have a bad meeting, but it's like throwing an interception in football. Well, it's behind you. You can't do anything about it. Move on to the next one. Play the next play. Just do the next play. Right?
Yeah, you almost have to, like in football, you just got to shake it off and you got to just keep moving. If not, then you're just going to soak in it and then you're going to feel down about yourself and then you're not going to have the confidence you need. So I almost started taking the rejections as fuel. Like I was like, oh no, like I got that. You're going to tell me no right now, but you're going to tell me yes in a few months. Like give me a few months and I got you, So it really is cool to see, how you go about things with the marketing.
Yeah. And to Dr. Clark's credit, nothing good happens in the comfort zone. You got to push yourself. Like there really is no competition. Yeah. The competition, for you, Reagan, like when you first started, I'm not saying you didn't have confidence, but your confidence was here.
Right.
And then you pushed yourself, you got in front of strangers, you gave your spiel, and it started to get results.
Absolutely.
Your confidence started to grow, and then the smile got bigger on your face, and then you just continue to get better and better and better.
Right.
And repetition is the mother of skill. So, Reagan, last couple of questions here. Like, where do you see Clark Integrated Medical going from here with your help and with personal injury? And now you've installed a concussion protocol, and I know Doc is also trying to work on, some other medically integrated things as well. Like, what do you see in the next 2 years with your doctor's practice?
Well, I definitely know in the works already is a third location. So we have 2 locations. We have one in Lafayette, one in New Iberia, and we're looking to open another one soon. Within the next couple of years, I really hope we have that third one up and running and we're ready to go. By that time, we have that one up and running and then we're ready for another one. And there's a 4th Clark Integrated, I really hope we end up having some around the state. That'd be great because that'll be easier for me because I can travel and I can go to the different clinics and I can hit different personal injury attorneys that are in that area where our clinics are instead of just locally, So it's definitely, the sky's the limit with this. It really is. We've just grown so much.
And I just wanted to fill something in here. You mentioned the practices are in, Lafayette, New Iberia. We're talking about Lafayette, Louisiana, and New Iberia, Louisiana. We're not, and they're getting 50 to 70 new PI patients a month. We're not talking about a city like Miami or Dallas or Chicago. Like, this is Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning, when Dr. Clark reached out to me, 9 PI patients. Got him a marketing liaison. Now he's on a second marketing liaison. Now they're working on their third location. They're getting 50 to 70. And it happened through constant and consistent pursuit of this goal of building a PI practice.
It's true. It's definitely, he's got consistency like no other, and that's what it took. And now, we're in a 9,000 square foot building in Lafayette, and New Iberia, I believe theirs is like 6,000 square foot. And they're both flourishing. I mean, New Iberia has seen numbers that we've never seen before. And Lafayette also. Lafayette is just, we're exploding. And it's not a bad problem to have, but it's also like we're growing, so when are we gonna outgrow this clinic? You never know, so it's like, it's really, truly amazing to see his vision come to life, just sticking with him this whole time, so.
Yeah, and Dr. Clark, he's a member of my Optimum Pi Mastermind. So these other doctors in there that are just, helping each other. You want a third location? Here's some resources. Here's some things to think about. Make sure you're covering A, B, and C. So he's just going to be moving faster because he has help of like-minded docs that are doing the exact same thing as he is, just doing it all over the country.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he always comes back from the mastermind classes too with this whole new, hey, I have a new idea, Reagan, of how to market. I'm like, all right, but let's go. Let's hear it. And I will say, y'all's classes have just changed the game for him and me, marketing strategy wise. I know we have the chat, gbpt.com. I've been using that for emails, for social media, for outreach, the organic outreach. I mean, it's been great. It really has been.
It saves you so much time if you really learn how to do it, and you just have to get okay at it. You can just pop out content in minutes.
It's crazy. You just put any type of content you want, and boom, it just creates something for you that you could never create yourself, but it does it for you, and you just send it off and you feel comfortable sending it because it's correct. It's all in detail of what you wanted to say, and it just kind of does it for you. So it's cool.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're using all these tools. That's what they're for. And obviously it's working, Reagan, but it's working because of you. You're a vital part of making this personal injury business that Dr. Clark has a success. So I'm going to compliment you. Way to go, Reagan. Good job.
Thank you.
So Reagan, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know obviously you guys are so busy. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this interview with me. I think it's going to add a lot of value to the other liaisons out there that may be struggling. Anything you want to add? Any final comments before I let you go for today?
No, I think we about covered everything, but thank you so much for having me. And this was more than I could have imagined because I didn't know how this was going to go, but I definitely learned some stuff about myself also with this that I know that I'll need to work on and know that I need to continue doing. So thank you for that.
Of course. It's my pleasure. Well, Reagan, thank you so much again. Have a great day. And if you want to reach out to Reagan, Dr. Clark is in our group. So you can just shoot Dr. Clark a private message, through a chat, and just say, hey, I would love for my liaison to talk to Reagan, and I'm sure you'd be open to doing that. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Reagan, if other marketers want to reach out to you because maybe they're struggling or maybe they're not really confident about what they're doing, can they reach out to you?
Absolutely. I'm here for all the good and the bad with marketing. I wish I would have had someone to guide me in the beginning. So if anybody has any questions or has anything to say, to reach out, then I'm all ears and I'm here to help. So y'all can either shoot me an email or I have a work cell phone that Dr. Scott has. I'm willing to help whoever needs.
And Reagan, you're in our school group, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, just reach out to Reagan in the school group. Just be happy to help you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Reagan, thank you so much again. Have a great day, and I hope to see you soon.
Sounds good. You too, Mark. Thank you.
All right, my pleasure.